Okay, so Masvidal been awarded a $5 million judgment after suing Fanmio for non-payment for his boxing match with Nate Diaz in 2024. Masvidal was awarded the $5,315,000 or $315,268.64 settlement. Plus post-judgment interest on Wednesday. He was initially promised a $6 million purse with an increase to $7 million if he won. Masvidal claims he only received $1 million in addition to a $150,000 advance after losing a decision to Diaz. In a separate lawsuit, Diaz claims Fanmio president Solomon Engel allegedly promised him $10 million to fight Masvidal. The lawsuit alleges Fanmio agreed to pay Diaz $1 million up front and the additional $9 million will be paid after the fight. An arbitrator overseeing that case has awarded Diaz a $6 million judgment plus an additional $500K penalty against Engel, along with attorney fees and interest. Diaz is currently awaiting on a judge to get final approval on his arbitration award. Here's Diaz's complaint. This is what Diaz is getting a judgment for. Let me read it to you. This case involves outright fraud committed by defendants Fanmio and its president and owner Solomon Engel upon famed mixed martial artist and boxer Nate Diaz. Fanmio describes itself as an entertainment company that provides online access to entertainment events, films, and celebrity experiences. In 2023, Fanmio and Engel approached Diaz and his representatives about Fanmio promoting a boxing match between Diaz and retired MMA fighter Jorge Masvidal. Diaz and his representatives were skeptical that Fanmio and Engel had the financial resources to fund the payments, but they were assured repeatedly that Fanmio and Engel had the financial resources to pay Diaz, and that any payments owed to Diaz for participating in the boxing event would be fully guaranteed. Engel and Fanmio repeatedly promised and contractually guaranteed in writing they would pay the sum of $10 million to Diaz for helping to promote the fight and boxing Masvidal, with $1 million paid up front and $9 million paid after the event. Diaz participated in an unprecedented amount of media promotion for the fight for both him and the industry, including 6 press conferences, 4 times the amount of social media posts he has ever done for any previous fight, agreed upon media availability, podcast interviews, and granting permission to Fanmio to utilize his YouTube channel to be a distribution platform for fight-related promotional content. In the week leading up to the event, Diaz did everything requested of him to promote the success of the event, including doing podcast interviews, participating in press conferences, and posting on social media. Diaz did everything and more to attempt to make the fight a success. The value of Diaz's services for marketing and participating in the event well exceeds $20 million. The boxing event between Diaz and Masvidal took place on July 6, 2024 at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. From all appearances, the event was a smashing success. The entire 18,000 plus seat Honda Center sold out, and the fight between Masvidal and Diaz was action-packed, going the entire 10-round distance, with Diaz ultimately prevailing in a majority decision over Masvidal. The event was widely praised by both the media and the public. Yet remarkably, Fanmio and Engel are now reneging on their written and oral promises and guarantees to pay $9 million owing to Diaz because they claim they are going to lose money on the event. In a flurry of desperate calls to Diaz's representatives following the event, Engel despondently groveled that he was going to lose more money than he had anticipated on the event if he paid Diaz what he had promised, and that his wife might divorce him because of the financial losses. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. And Diaz doesn't give a fuck, bro. Engel went so far as to threaten he might have to declare bankruptcy to avoid paying Diaz what he owed. Interesting. There is nothing lower or more despicable in the world of boxing than a boxing promoter who allows a fighter to put their health and safety on the line in boxing event so that the promoter has the chance to make tremendous profits only to later renege on paying the boxer following the event. Worse yet, Engel knew that Diaz and his representatives were concerned about this exact situation of Engel reneging on payment if the event was not a financial success. In the months and weeks leading up to the event, Fanmio, Engel, and the representatives initially lied to Diaz's representatives about having set aside the money to make the payments and the payments being guaranteed. going so far as to have their lawyer inform Diaz's representatives in writing that the money to pay Diaz was being held in an independent collection account. Unfortunately, Diaz has been given no choice but to now sue Fanmio and Engel to address their blatant breach of contract and fraud and recover the money Diaz is indisputably owed. So let's see how much money Diaz was awarded as well. He's just awaiting a judgment, but I think they came up with a number. It says in 2023, Engel ensured Diaz's representative, Zach Rosenfeld, that he had the resources to pay for the event and that any payments due to Diaz would be guaranteed regardless of the financial performance of the event. So it says, in reliance on Engel's assurances on or about December 30th, 2023, Fanmio and Diaz entered into an event and promotion agreement whereby Fanmio guaranteed and promised Diaz that he would be paid a total sum of $10 million for his boxing and marketing services in connection with the event, with $1 million paid up front and the remaining $9 million paid immediately following the event. In entering the agreement, that's kind of crazy though, right? $1 million paid up front and $9 million after. I mean, he did the same thing to Masvidal. What do you do to Masvidal? Purse of $6 million with an increase of $7 million. So he keeps doing these weird ass little things. But all Masvidal was ever paid to was $1 million with a $150,000 advance. And Nate's saying he only got paid $1 million too, right? I mean, we're gonna finish reading this. Let's just kind of like dig through the financials. So yeah, the event was originally scheduled for March, but then it got pushed back to June. Once again, April 30th, guaranteeing payouts. Engel provided promises in writing. Engel and the representatives expressly represented that the money to pay Diaz had already been deposited in an independent third-party collection account managed by Salford Corporate Services. So even before the event took place, regardless of the ticket sales, this dude was promising that he had the money. How the fuck did he have the money? Like, who is Engel? What kind of businessman is he? Having upwards of like 6 million plus 10 million, like 16 million, like liquid is crazy. So it says, on May 12, 2024, Fanmio and Engel's lawyer, who is also an officer and owner of Salford, sent an email to Diaz's attorney, Sam Awad, copying Engel and Rosenfeld, stating that regarding your inquiries relating to funds, please be informed that as a matter of course, our firm does not furnish letters concerning our clients' funds to external parties unless they are required under agreements governing the relationship between our client and such third party. However, our firm can confirm that either directly or through Salford Corporate Services Inc., it has received from and for Fanmio amounts in excess of $8,500,000 for the Fanmio bouts. Okay, so I was saying 16 million liquid. He had 8,500,000 liquid. Diaz would have never participated in the event if his representatives had not received the foregoing assurances from Fanmio and Engel via their attorney. I mean, 8,500,000 isn't even Diaz's full purse, let alone fucking Masvidal's. So I don't know. That seems like a red flag off the bat. On May 13th, 2024, Rosenfeld spoke about concerns about Fanmio and Engel paying Diaz. Engel told Rosenfeld that you have nothing to worry about. Nate is getting paid. Rosenfeld replied, stating, we just want to make sure you are not counting on event proceeds as the only way to get it since I am projecting us to come in low. Interesting. Engel responded, stating, don't worry, Nate is going to be fine. I have said that to you from the start. So even Diaz was projecting low numbers. Diaz's camp was projecting low numbers. And they're like, look, buddy, like you got to have this cash beforehand. And all Engel did was promise, despite only having 8.5 mil in the account. Of course he's relying on proceeds. It's written right here. Where's the other fucking basically 7.5 million gonna come from? He's banking on the event being a smashing hit, which I guess it ended up being. Oh, in the weeks leading up to the event, Diaz's reps were concerned about Fanmio and Engel's efforts to generate pay-per-view sales, including failing to contract with the key players in the pay-per-view market. June 21st, Rosenfeld pressed Engel on what his plan was if the pay-per-view underperformed, going so far as to say, "You do realize no matter what, you owe Nate $9 million on the Friday after the fight." Engel assured Rosenfeld that Fanmio and Engel had no concerns about the financial performance of the event. Engel told Rosenfeld that, "Don't worry, I pay everybody. Nate will be paid. I don't have the contract in front of me, but yes." Engel told Rosenfeld during the call that he had a net worth of $80 million in an apparent effort to further comfort Rosenfeld that Diaz would be fully paid. On May 14th, Schwedel sent a letter on behalf of Fanmio complaining that Diaz had failed to perform certain promotional obligations in connection with the event. On June 14th, Diaz's lawyer responded to Schwedel's letter denying that Diaz had failed to perform any promotional obligations. On Sunday, Schwedel replied to Reynolds' letter again, stating that Diaz had not complied with certain promotional obligations. Here seems to be where the legal games started taking place, as far as Engel not wanting to pay him and shit. Maybe. Oh wow, so June 23rd, Rosenfeld called Engel to let him know that he thought serving a legal letter on a Sunday was a cheap, deliberate effort to create frustration within the Diaz camp, and the contents of the letter were ridiculous. Rosenfeld again demanded assurances from Engel that Diaz would be fully paid if he complied with the promotional obligations during fight week. Engel said that Rosenfeld was being ridiculous, and "I am not going to stiff Nate Diaz, but Nate has to understand how vital fight week promotion is." But nothing, bro. But nothing. Rosenfeld assured Engel that throughout Diaz's career, he has always been fully compliant with media activities during fight week, and this would be no different. Fanmio intended to fully pay Diaz and had no intention of deducting any amount from payments guaranteeing to Diaz. Quote, "There is no intention of making deductions to my client's payments as a result of the allegations in your letter. My client intends to perform all agreed promotional obligations, but it is critical that Fanmio to be clear about its expectations for fight week and the parties agreed on a promotional schedule. I'm hopeful everyone can work cooperatively towards a very successful event." So here's, oh my goodness, okay, so following the event, Diaz looked forward to being paid what he had rightly earned and what he had been repeatedly promised and guaranteed by Fanmio and Engel. Diaz was provided a check by Eric Botcher for Diaz's disclosed purse of $500,000, which had been disclosed to the California State Athletic Commission. However, later that night, Bodger asked for Diaz to return the check, stating that Fanmio preferred to just pay Diaz the entire guaranteed sum of $9 million by wire at one time. Diaz in good faith complied, expecting that Fanmio and Engel would make good on their numerous and repeated promises guaranteeing his payment of $9 million, but remarkably, Fanmio and Engel have even reneged on paying Diaz the disclosed purse that was listed on a contract provided by the California State Athletic Commission. Diaz is informed and believes that Fanmio's and Engel's request to return the $500,000 disclosed purse was part of the fraud committed by Engel and Fanmio, who had already decided that very night. Engel uses Fanmio as protection for his personal resources. Fanmio was used as a sham to induce plaintiff to participate in a boxing match while placing his life and limb at risk. Having done so, Engel used the corporate form, knowing he would not pay what was due and owing as a means to protect himself with a corporate shell. Breach of contract, fraud. Oh, so these are just the counts. I don't even know what that is. I'm trying to find how much Nate is owed. Okay, here it is. Final judgment. The court, having granted plaintiff Nate Diaz motion to confirm final arbitration award, hereby enters final judgment upon the final arbitration award as follows. It is ordered, adjudged, and decreed that judgment is entered in favor of plaintiff Nathan Diaz and against defendant Fanmio Inc. in the amount of $6 million on Diaz's claim for breach of contract. Defendant Solomon Engel shall be jointly and severally liable with defendant Fanmio Inc. for payment of $500,000 of the $6 million pursuant to the arbitrator's finding of alter ego. It is further ordered that defendants Fanmio Inc. and Solomon Engel are jointly and several liable to Diaz for payment of attorney fees in the amount of $297,813.65 and $51,747 as well. Post-judgment interest shall accrue on all unpaid amounts at the legal rate under Florida law from September 26, 2025 until paid in full. So you got to pay the interest too. What's this part about for $500,000 of the $6 million? Oh, so Solomon has to pay $500,000 out of pocket or something like that of the $6 million, and then Fanmio's liable for $5.5 million. So Nate's gonna walk away with a total of $7 million if he gets paid everything, and his attorney fees are getting paid for. Because Nate got paid $1 million up front, I guess. He's not complaining about that, but he needed $9 million after the fight. Got nothing. So now he's gonna get $6 million plus the $1 million he got up front, so a total of $7 million of the $10 million he was initially guaranteed. And he's just waiting on a final judgment for this. So Masvidal got 5, right? 5.3, plus other things too, like the judgment costs and all that stuff. I mean, he also got 1.1 million on top of that. So add that to it, 6.1. So what, like 6.4 million? 6.4 million Masvidal got in total, and Diaz got a total of 7 million. So Diaz only got like 600 bands more than Masvidal. Masvidal came out on top because he was promised 6 million, but he got a little bit more than that. He got 6.3 million, or like I just said, 6.4. So that's this whole situation, that whole Fanmio situation.